We at Federal Auto are celebrating our 60th anniversary with up to 60,000 ringgit in savings just for you. Drive home the dynamic Volvo XC60 for just 283888 ringgit. Enjoy amazing savings for the XC90, S90, XC40 and the all-new S60. Or check out the unbelievable value of our Volvo pre-owned selections. Celebrate 60 years of Volvo by Federal Auto at your nearest Federal Auto showroom at Menara MBMR, Glenmarie and Georgetown, Penang.
This is a download from BFM 89.9, the business station.
Open for Business on BFM 89.9.
You're listening to Open for Business on BFM 89.9. I'm Christine Wong, and as the world starts to head back into the workplace, early risers are back to looking for their closest source of caffeine. I know I love my coffee myself. So joining me on the line today is Raja Ahmad Fauzan, who is the CEO, that is Coffee Enthusiastic Officer of Coffee Star. Before we start to talk about Coffee Star and your unique product, could you introduce yourself briefly and talk about your background and your career path before you created Coffee Star?
For the past 5 years, through my other ventures, Trendy County, we revolutionized the retail industry through our self-service automated retail kiosks that equip with our patented technology. So these kiosks, we put at high-paced locations like KLIA, KLIA2, KSCC, JB airports, used to sell the retail products like power bank, cable charger, you name it, like international SIM card or travel accessories or even toys. We also white label this technology to the corporate clients. In 2019, 4 years after we started Trendy County, we said to ourselves, Chop, why only we stick to retail segment? We can have the similar self-service machine for coffee as well. So to achieve this, we bring together a specific team separate from the retail technology team. So this team comprises of coffee connoisseur, IT expert and designer like myself. So in single purpose to develop what we call today as a connected coffee machine.
Right. And are you still focusing on the retail aspect as well, or are you purely focusing on Coffee Star at the moment?
Currently both, but my other colleague in Trendy County taking a driver's seat in terms of taking the business forward.
Gotcha.
So currently I'm focused on just Coffee Star.
Right. And you mentioned self-service kiosks can be used for a multitude of products, obviously retail, but you have decided very specifically to focus on coffee, which is sort of a red ocean, right? So why did you all decide on coffee as your next endeavor?
It is an expansion to the current product line, which is a self-service retail kiosk. And bear in mind, coffee is a market with a great potential. It's the second most traded commodity after all, which is the oil. We want to provide a perfect cup of coffee to everyone, and it doesn't have to be expensive. So that's our forte. With using our technology, we can make the coffee more affordable and rapid expansion to everyone. We are not just focused on coffee as a beverage. It is a magical substance. It's been consumed for thousands of years, if not hundreds of years, across all human civilization due to its superior effect, right? So that's what we call as the original energy boosters. And our mission is we want to make this available for everyone.
I mean, obviously you can tell that you are so passionate about coffee, and the idea behind Coffee Star is to make a cup of quality coffee, I guess, accessible for many people. Now, for those who have just heard of Coffee Star, essentially what you guys have are these self-service coffee, vending machines. You call them your coffee ATMs that brew quality coffee for people on the go. Now, what was the process of developing the technology for these coffee ATMs, and how do the ATMs work?
So because we want to extend the business, it's not just doing the retail business, So when come into coffee, we found that most of other business expand or start a business by opening a cafe. But we did a reality check. This is not going to be achieved, and really a full-time business model. In Malaysia, easily between 400 to 500,000 being used to set up or, to open a cafe. Because for a normal cafe, they need a big space with a generous sitting area. They need a large team to man the shop. And why not for us? We do it differently. We automate the service. Hence, we do the coffee ATM. The good news is we don't throw those costs, the big costs, to your cup of tea. So we maintain the affordability factors. Talking about coffee ATM, it's fully cashless, touchscreen panel, and it's all automated. And even the door is locked all the time. The door will be just open when your drink is ready. So in short, as a comparison, I would say, between ATM. That's why we draw the name coffee ATM. ATM is, insert a card, select amount, and get your money, right? So in coffee ATM, you insert or tap the card, you select your drink, and also you can select your sugar level, and voila, you get your drink. And we also can take major e-wallets like Grab, Boost, Touch and Go, Alipay, and WeChat Pay. If we allocate this machine for your employer, so in case your employer provide the coffee as a staff benefit, so we will withdraw the amount of your coffee consumption from your coffee account, just like your normal ATM withdrawal.
So let me just get this straight. When you're talking about your coffee ATMs for typical consumers, it's a cashless situation where you tap the card, select your drink of choice and the sugar level, and then you provide the drink. But there's a different system for the B2B aspect of that?
Yes, spot on. Because the fact that we are a coffee technology company, there are many iterations we can do. If the machine is deployed through a third party, through our white label or through the clients, so they can throw or putting additional technology behind it, like, monthly coffee accounts, or, there is one of our client even asked, hey, Fauzan, can you do facial recognition? I said, yes, we can. Right. Provided the technology behind it is available and also client willing to pay for it.
Right. So I guess one of the advantages of your coffee ATMs as compared to a typical vending machine is not only that it is cashless and has the touchscreen and all that, but also the fact that to an extent it is sort of customizable to what a specific client might want.
Exactly. It is an IoT invention with lots of sensors, algorithm, and monitoring. To put you in a perspective, for example, it is a cloud control machine. So with cloud control, we're able to monitor and do supervision remotely. And even we can rinse a machine and wash a machine remotely. So how wonderful is that? So we don't have to send someone else to go and rinse a machine when the days end. It is a fully automated process with no human involvement. From coffee brewing, from taking the cups, it's automated cup dispensing, and also the coffee dispense. As I said earlier, when the coffee is ready, you can just automatically unlock the door and take your drink.
Is there not even any human interaction with refilling the ingredients and the cups as well, or is it totally automated somehow in that frame as well?
So normally we schedule for our service, our technician to go to the machine and service within 3 or 4 days at once. We can't do fully automated because why? We have to maintain the freshness of the ingredient. It's no point putting there like for the whole month, which is possible, but the ingredient, the coffee beans won't be fresh.
Right. So essentially the, operational aspect of the coffee ATM is fully automated, but you still do need a human to come in every 3 or 4 days to service and maintain the machine.
Yes, it is.
Right. I'm actually very curious about this. What are the variety of options for your products in the coffee ATM? Because you mentioned you can choose your drink and your sugar level, but is it the latte cappuccino sort of thing, or is it a bit more broken down into just how many shots of espresso and then milk, sugar, etc.?
Yes, it's the normal specialty coffee like espresso, latte, americano, or even cappuccino. That's there. Each machine can take up to 20 types of drinks, not just coffee. Actually, we can add fruit juice, we can add tea as well, and hot and cold. So up to 20 types of drinks, and it's there.
Right. And, many people, especially nowadays, have very specific coffee preferences. For example, personally speaking, I'm mildly lactose intolerant. So I do love a good black coffee, but sometimes I want to use a milk alternative like soy or oats or almond milk in my coffee. Would factors like these be implemented into your coffee ATMs, or are you thinking about it?
I hope in the future I can tailor-make the solution for you, because it's not the coffee, or it's not the machine that play the main factor. It is the ingredient. So when we swap the ingredient, for example, now we are not using milk. We're using non-dairy creamer because some of us are vegetarian. They wouldn't take animal-based products. So we use the replacement.
Right. Okay, but basically in theory, you can use whichever ingredients or put in whatever raw product into the machine. It's just a matter of customizing the machine to make sure that it knows how to use the products.
Yes, spot on.
Now, of course, we have to talk money a little bit. What is the sort of average price for a cup of coffee from a coffee ATM, and how does that compare to, let's say, going to a cafe or even buying a coffee from a convenience store or something like that?
For freshly brewed coffee, which is from Coffee Bean, not 3-in-1, not pre-mixed like others do, fresh coffee is going to cost you about, now what we sell is 5 ringgit.
So that's in comparison to, I guess off the top of my head, I believe a typical latte or something from a chain might be about 9 to 10 ringgit?
Yes. Remember that I mentioned earlier that we don't throw the big cost of having a big space to you, having a big location to you, and having a big team to you. So that's why our cost is very affordable.
Right, interesting. It's time for a short break now, but after the break, I will continue speaking to Fauzan all about Coffee Star. You're currently listening to Open for Business on BFM 89.9.
Burning for more. BFM 89.9, the business station.
This is Open for Business on BFM 89.9. I'm Christine Wong, and joining me on the line today is Raja Ahmad Fauzan, also known as Fauzan, who is the Coffee Enthusiastic Officer or CEO of Coffee Star. Coffee Star provides these coffee ATMs that essentially can brew quality coffee for people on the go and can also be customized to clients' needs because they are cloud-controlled machines as well. Before the break, we were talking about his entrepreneurial journey and how he got to creating these machines, as well as the variety of products and the variety of options you can have in the coffee ATMs. And where do you source your ingredients from? You mentioned before the break that you restock the machines every couple of days, like 3 to 4 days. And obviously, a lot of people get very passionate about where their coffee is sourced and how it is sustainable and ethical to source coffee as well. So where do you actually get your raw ingredients from?
Wow, good question. So this is something very passionate for me as well. I'm firm believer of the fair trade or ethical coffee. So for those who don't know, ethical coffee is like you buy a coffee from sustainable sources. So the farmer is able to make the end meets. It's not just they work really hard, but at the end, the MNCs or big companies that are making money. So fair trade is a system that they're buying from the farmers. In this case, is a corporation in a fair amount, which is slightly above the market rate. With the fair trade, the farmers are able to support their families and communities. So the partners I'm working with is, you guess, is 219-year-old company. I repeat, it's 219-year-old company with a brand called Puro Coffee from Belgium.
Wow, that's fantastic to hear. Does the same thing go for the other products? Like you mentioned, you use a non-dairy creamer and you also have to provide, I guess, sugar or syrup. Are you working towards making those sustainably or even locally sourced as well?
Unfortunately, some products in Malaysia are not one of the main producers. For example, the coffee or even the tea. We are not, our coffee that grown in Cameron Highland is not enough to support, so we have to import. So in this case, yes, we have to import, but we import from sustainable sources. Coffee, tea, chocolate is all fair trade certified.
Right. And what about the cups that you use in the machines as well? Are they recyclable? Are they, because I would imagine that they would be disposable, right?
Yes, it is disposable at the moment, and as compared to other medium that other people use, for example, can, plastic bottle, we use a paper cup. So paper cup, you can recycle it. And probably in the near future, we want to do with biodegradable lid as well.
All right. Next question is, where are your coffee ATMs located, and why did you choose those? I know that you mentioned you have a B2B part of the business where you will sort of customize these machines for some specific clients. But what about your B2C products? Where are they located generally?
Currently, we have about 23 machines located in around Klang Valleys, in particular in KLIA, KLI2, hospitals, universities, and a few shopping malls like KL Gateway, Starbucks Mall as well.
Now, obviously, a lot of those locations are publicly frequented, and as a result, I must imagine that Coffee Star was pretty heavily impacted by the pandemic and the subsequent lockdown and restrictions of the MCO. So could you go into a bit more detail about that?
Yeah, because as a new business, remember that, we are a startup. We face a challenge every single day, but those challenges now amplified due to the crisis. For example, our businesses in airports, in shopping mall, in gyms, and university are all impacted by the, brutal halt, or I would say the sale dropped 95%. So that's the impact that we have. So we acknowledge the reality. So we know that the MCO is not going to be short, because in fact we are in the front row to face this challenge, because we are in the airports. So airport already experienced the low season during January and February because of COVID already spreading across the China territories.
So you're already pretty aware that you were going to be heavily impacted, I guess. How did you deal with, that massive loss of revenue?
Yes, no doubt as a business entity, we have to realize that when we do internal discussion, we brainstorm, are we doing nothing or are we just giving up? So the consensus answer is no. We don't want to be weakened, paralyzed, and also finally collapse. So our commitment is to stay in the game, and we want to keep the team intact and keep going.
Right.
So that's where the idea came to, when we want to deploy or redeploy the machine for the frontliners.
Right. And that leads on to my next question very smoothly. So thank you for that. You created the Coffee for Frontliners project. You deployed 4 coffee ATMs to frontliner hubs, including the MAEPS COVID-19 Treatment Center and the Sungai Buloh Hospital to provide free coffee for frontliners. Are the ATMs still at those locations, first of all?
Yes, it is. We deployed to this because mine is a purpose-built or field hospital for 600 patients, and also Sungai Buloh is specifically designated as a COVID-19 hospital. That's what we did, and it's not all from us. It's the ingredient or the supplies are crowdsourced, and also we received some angel donors. Thank you for that. The good news is, as of June, we served more than 10,000 cups to date. So that's pretty amazing, because if you divided the numbers, it's like 200 to 300 cups every single day being served.
Right.
So if you put it in the perspective, I don't think that's humanly possible for any barista to do it in every single day.
Right. Is that number based on since you first launched last year?
No, I mean the numbers that we provide a fresh, free coffee for the frontliners.
Oh, so the frontliner. So you served 10,000 cups of coffee to the frontliners?
Yeah, about 1.5 months already.
Wow. Okay. That is a lot of coffee. I'm happy to hear that was a really successful project for you guys. And also great to hear the use of crowdsourcing as well, and the angel investors that participated in that project. One more question about how your machines work. Obviously, you mentioned earlier that you do restock and maintain the machines every 3 to 4 days as well. But you also have to account for, especially in public places, the external or environmental factors, right? I would imagine that issues like humidity or even pests might become an issue if the ingredients are left in the machine. So how does Coffee Star acknowledge that issue?
All right, that's a good question. I'm an engineer by training, so I love always about the design factor of it. So when we started, we thought like, okay, would we buy ready-made machine that built by Europeans or some other nation that's for them, climate control is not a factor because for them, the humidity is not there. I mean, like ours, we are sweating every here and there. And even, for example, unfortunately, something like pest control, which is for them, open machine don't have to be enclosed is something okay because they don't have flies, flying everywhere. Like us, it's slightly different. So that's a factor we took into consideration. And I don't want to reveal that much in this because this is technology that we use internally.
It's a trade secret, but you did account for it, basically.
Yes, it is. And
right.
No one else did it because they just buy a machine and deploy to the market.
Fair enough. And you also mentioned that your machines are primarily touchscreen based. The COVID-19 concerns have led to a lot of paranoia, I guess, about touching shared surfaces. How are you guys addressing that?
Okay, good news is we are working with internet or web-based app that you can click and choose your location and you buy from your app or from your web-based app. Then you choose your location and you can just get a coffee without touching the machines.
Right.
To put it simply, buy from the internet portal, you choose a location and get your coffee without touching the surface. But these features are still in the developing mode.
Right. And final question is, what other plans do you have for the rest of the year for Coffee Star?
Okay, the future outlook for us, I would say, we want to add value to our customers' life and their productivity. So that's our true measure of success. So the next is we want to propel and position ourselves as a preferred coffee of choice. So we want to expand in other various locations apart from the current location, the airports, mall or gyms or university. So we are talking with petrol station brands and also corporate towers. So hope that progressing quite well. So let's hope that we're going to acquire those locations fast. We committed to stay in business and firmly believe the next normal post-COVID is something like, we can weather it because, people kind of physical distancing as you mentioned earlier. So they want to avoid, going to crowded space like cafe. And being served as human is something yesterday. You're now being served by a machine. And, furthermore, our machine is cashless, so you don't have to handle cash. And I would say, last but not least, because the fact is our machine is automized, so it's part of supporting the government agenda in terms of reducing the dependency of the foreign laborers. So I would say we take all of the above.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear that Coffee Star is going to give people energy throughout the upcoming sort of low-touch economy that is happening right now. But thank you so much for speaking to me today about Coffee Star, Fauzan. This has been Open for Business on BFM 89.9. I'm Christine Wong, and if you've missed any of this interview, you can go ahead and listen to the podcast on our BFM app, available on the Apple App Store or Google Play. You can also head over to our website, bfm.my, or you can even catch us on Spotify, BFM 89.9.
You've been listening to Open for Business on BFM 89.9.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To find more great interviews, go to bfm.my or find us on iTunes. BFM 89.9, the business station.